Singh, who is the head of the Department of Botany at Anna Mountain University, he was able to state in a magazine that it is proven beyond any shadow of a doubt that our harmonic sound waves affect the growth, flowering, fruiting, and seeds that yields of plants. So even sounds, which are nothing different from vibrations, which promote emotions. Somebody starts screaming at you, ah, ah, ah. You get a certain emotion. Somebody speaks softly, hey, what's going on? You get soothed, you get relaxed. That is an emotion. So when we play music, and experimentation going on in the 1960s and 1963 through the gramophone, what we come to find out is that when they were playing music for these plants, they got harvests ranging consistently from 20 to 60% higher than a regional average. 25 to 60% higher. Now he also was able to musically provoke peanuts and chewing tobacco into producing nearly 50% more than normal. Well, what they'll tell you is come to the store, buy some of this artificial fertilizer in order to stimulate the growth of your plants. And all you gotta do is just show it a little love.
So that's basically like us. We listening to this music out here. That's got us reproducing on a kind of level that, you know what I'm saying, is unnatural.
Absolutely.
With the unnatural music.
You know what I'm saying? Even on a natural level, when you listen to a real rock song, like, and just listen to the whole song, and then listen to some Marvin Gaye. Ooh, you're like, that rock music gonna have you ready to bust somebody in.
Right.
So when you want to get hyped, you want to go to your guys' game, listen to that, you're gonna be ready to get in somebody, you know what I'm saying? When you with your lady, put that nice little smoothness on, y'all, the emotion. So you gotta understand is that there's emotional language. There's emotional language. Even we see this with a baby and his mother. That baby just at the boo-boo. There ain't no, there's no linguistic thing going on there, but there's an emotional communication that's going on there. And we still have it. But we just pass it on like, oh, forget that nigga, I'm gonna just do this. Let's move on, though. Well, actually, let's go back. So even when we play classical music, because y'all know I'm pretty sure we're gonna have a lot of, classical music ain't really popular, and some of my generation, put a little beat on it, you know what I'm saying?
Right.
But even with classical music, when they play Johann Bach, you have even wheat, which produced a crop, has 66% greater than the average. 66? And you want to talk about health, when we talk about all these pesticides in their food, we make that relationship. Start your garden, play something on there. We got the new garden right there, just based off of properties that we have innate in us. What they say, the best things are free?
Right.
Let's go.
You know what?
All right. So in 1720s, in the 1720s, we have this French writer and astronomer, Brother Jean Jacques. Now, he was writing a series of pet mimosas in his Paris drawing room. Now, we come to find out is that these particular plants, upon the disappearance of the sun, appear to be causing the sensitive plants to fold their leaves, just as they did when touched by his hand. So plants are even moving, but it's they so suave and smooth that y'all ain't even peeping. So a researcher, esteemed by his contemporaries, the individual as I introduced before, what he did was he took this experimentation a little bit further. And what he did was set a particular closet where he would put these plants in the dark. And what we're going to find out is that at noon, he noticed that the leaves of the plant remained wide open. But as the sunset fell, so did the leaves. And they are in the closet. So he's come to find out is that they are able to even sense the sun when it's coming in at night. Now we have another individual in 1923, and I'll tell you we had this information for some time, Georges Lakhovsky, a Russian-born engineer who designed an electrical apparatus emitting very short waves with lengths between 2 meters and 10. which he called radiocellulose oscillator. Okay? So what we come to find out is that we're taking emotions on a more scientific aspect. And what we call them wavelengths. So even when you perceive the light, we don't see it as that particular wave vibration because our retinas perceive it through our constantly seeing that. But what's going on the small, minute level, on the more detailed levels, is that there is a particular wavelength that is going on that we're perceiving here. And they're able to measure it. It's called the angstroms. So they even can measure the emotions and the vibrations. So plants had developed tumors the size of cherry stones. One of them was exposed to radiation from narciliae. What we come to find out is the best radiation you're going to get on this planet is through the sun. Anything other than that is artificial. And if it's artificial, it's going to set up abnormal cell growth. And abnormal cell growth has been defined as cancer. So even plants can get tumors and cancers. If you're living incorrectly, not in harmony, they're going to get these diseases as well. Let's go to the next one. So in 1964, an article in Time magazine by John Nash Ott, he did a report on TV radiation. Now understand how all these presentations are linking one to one to one. Now I believe it was Brother Tanu who was talking about TV radiation and the effects of the TVs, and we're talking about how TVs are all in our households. Mm-hmm. Yo, this thing is really killing us. Let's take a look. When I was talking about the measurement of these wavelengths, these are potency of these wavelengths. Now the farther away you get from a TV, the better you off. Seriously. Now what they did on experimentation with some children in the U.S. Air Force is that it suggested symptoms of nervousness, continuous fatigue, headaches. You ever wonder, you just walking through another day, you just get this headache from nowhere. It's because of all the radiation that your body's receiving. But you're not aware of it because we only got these 5 senses. Okay? So let's move on to the next one. So even with rats, they experimented with white rats exposed to the same radiation which caused wild growth in beings became increasingly hyperactive and aggressive, these white rats. Then progressively lethargic. So what they got is they have 2 experiments. They have a control case where they have these rats outside of this particular radiation, and they have these rats that are inside. And we come to find out that even in procreation, we have the actual rats in the TV area who like producing two babies. When normally, on the other experiment, they are producing 8. So imagine when you have a pregnant woman in front of this TV. Not only is she getting that radiation, but the offspring. But what they tell you, go ahead, do all the entertainment, go ahead watching TV, and we get constant radiation nonstop. I know some people who even just sleep with the TV on. Or the radio. It don't even matter. You can have a light on. You can have your alarm clock on. You getting that radiation. The best way to sleep is, look, try this experiment. Try at least 2 days. Put everything off. Unplug it. No lights. Put stuff over your curtains. No lights. I know your street light. They got street lights outside. So you almost can't even escape this.
Use candles.
You know what I'm saying?
Straight
Cut
up.
all that radiation out, sleep in complete blackness. If you ain't in your room like this, then you ain't sleeping right. So try that for 2 days. I bet you just refresh. Just refresh in the mind. Let's go to the next slide. So Ott, this individual who wrote in Times magazine, he confronted with the possibility that light frequencies could affect the growth and development of cancer, as we discussed. So spend as much time as possible outdoors in natural sunlight without glasses, and avoid artificial light sources, including television. Now, in a particular experiment, what they come to find out is that they did this experiment, I believe, with, it was up to 15 human cancer patients. Now, once they took them out of that radiation environment, they come to find out is that after the summer was over, there was no further advancement in tumor development. Because your body naturally has an immune system is naturally built in order to heal itself. But if you constantly bombarding it and not letting it rest correctly, then you're going to promote cancer, you're going to promote tumors. So we're talking about even eating right. We are able to defeat cancer. So we have to make this scholarship, apply it to our lives to see if the effects work. We have to further indulge in the scholarship because, let me tell you, we are dying out here. Willingly, intentional, sub-intentional suicide is what's going on. Let's go to the next slide. Now, even in the schools, now you understand in the schools, if you're hyperactive causing too much ruckus, they're going to put you on some Ritalin, they're going to put you on some pharmaceutical drugs and slow you down. Get out the TV. We're going to find out